Right, well that's a weird intro, but hello everyone and welcome to the final round of AOR PS4 F2 here at Brazil for the championship decider. Tactician currently is 20 points off Iceman in the race for the championship. And joining me in the commentary box isn't Shane, it's Ben. Say hello.
Hello. I don't want to be here, but I'm here. Let's enjoy this great spectacle. Back over to Dan.
Great. I'll be honest, this isn't going to be the most enthusiastic commentary in the world, but it's going to be a bit different. Very dry here in Brazil. But as I was saying, Tactician is 20 points off Iceman in the race for the championship, and considering Iceman's consistency so far this season, it's been very difficult for the Red Bull driver to take the championship. He'll need Iceman to finish 8th or lower and him to take the win. That's the only possible way he can take the championship. Another battle to look out for is a battle for third between Stocky, Vettel Racer and the H-Eagle. Stocky obviously isn't racing and hasn't been here for most of the season, but he's somehow still in the battle for third. And Vettel Racer needs 5 points to overtake him and the H-Eagle needs 14. So we'll kind of keep track of that. But it looks pretty sunny so far.
Yep. Rain probably going to come in the race because it is Brazil and it is Codemasters, and 2 dry sessions at a rain affected track is nigh on impossible as cars are now leaving out to the track. I'm interested how will the championship battle regarding Williams fare tonight, Dan?
I don't think it's going to go too well for them because one's in the commentary box and one got blacklisted after events last time out in Kota, where Mazai kind of took out Caribbean Crush. Caribbean Crush isn't here because his L2 button is broken, so he's not racing tonight. But yeah, Mazai's got blacklisted, and you're in the commentary box, so I think they'll be stuck on their 17 points.
I'm not. It's as good a chance I've got of points as any because I will actually see the end of this race, hopefully for a change. So we've got drivers pretty far along their outlap now. Who's going to be on their lap first?
Take us on board with Elite Game Boy Ben, who's starting his lap now.
Do I have to?
Yes, you do.
Here we go. Right, here we are. 3 turn 2. Quite a nice line from what I saw, but we are
it was not at all. He locked up into turn 1 horrendously.
Right, well, we only just saw it at turn 2. Now, on the run down to turn 4, spots his braking point, locks up, but goes horribly wide, keeps his foot in it, and he's continuing on his lap. It's not going to be breaking records this lap.
No.
He's almost hit that apex. He's had a bit of a wobble there. That's gone alright. Nicely now into the next hairpin. Another lock up. I think it's not the worst banker in the world. I've definitely done worse in my time.
Yeah, I mean, I've done worse, but Elite Game Boy might actually want to pit here because he might have time to do 2 runs even if he comes in at the end of this lap. But no, he does come in. Right, try and find the driver who's closest to finishing the lap next. Cronexus is up for the final corner.
Jamie James coming into Young Sal looks like he's on a hot lap. Big oversteer moment. Yet to get our first time on the board, so it's quite hard to keep a track of. Oh, Cronexus with a 109.4. Oh, Jamie James was on out lap.
Yeah, I was told Jamie James was on a lap, but he wasn't. Go through turn 1 and turn 2 now. But Cronex is currently on provisional pole with only 2 times set. Any idea what pole's going to be today, Ben?
I seem to remember mid 08 being a decent time. I could be making that completely up, but I think mid to low 8s is a good pole time guess.
Okay, well, we'll find out eventually. Jundu has taken, and then the H-Eagle sets a 108.888, a lot of 8s there, as Jamie James through the middle sector now, down to this really difficult hairpin. I absolutely hate that corner. And then it's this flat out left-hander down to Jung South, which is obviously the final proper corner on this track. There's a yellow flag, and final sector, and Professional has crashed on the exit of Jung Sao. That's That's impressive.
Jamie James clips the grass on his run up to the line, goes all the way up to the pit wall, and he's P2. Respectable banker lap there.
Neither of our championship protagonists have yet to set a lap, but Tactician is coming towards the line now.
Cherry Pie as well. No improvement.
Iceman went fourth on a 109.1, and Tactician got his lap invalidated by the looks of things, because there's definitely a lap time on his dashboard, but it doesn't appear to have been registered.
Trying to tell if Woody's on a lap here. Don't think he is.
Yeah, it's very difficult to tell. Tactician through turn 4 on turn 5 looked pretty decent for that. Oh, he is. I think we are going to keep with Tactician though, seeing as, you know, his lap kind of matters a bit more.
Woody's in the pits.
So we've just been spreading fake news there from Ben. Through turn 9 up to turn 10 now for Tactician. Down to second gear, then fights the rear end for traction. And then through 11 and down into turn 12. Gets the car down into third gear and fights that rear end once again. Tactician really struggling with the rear end of this car seemingly, but as Iceman sets a 109.0 to go P2, Tactician will open up that DRS, see where he goes, and he goes up into second with a 108.9, but no one can seemingly touch the H-Eagle at the moment, who's had provisional pole for a fair long time now.
Tactician going to be looking for some hope in the, well, some hopeful circumstance in the race. Maybe some divine intervention, getting Iceman retired and him up into P1. It's not looking too good for him at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to need a pretty incredible race. Going to need a lot of rain at random points, I think. With obviously no safety car in this game.
I'll ask Professional if he could give us an insight into the weather. And if he could take us through the Elite Game Boy up into P3, splitting the championship protagonist there.
From absolutely nowhere.
Very tight there, 3rd to 5th. And then even down to 8th really, and even 10th, very close.
Yeah. Only 2/10 separating that massive, 8 positions. So, yeah, as Ben was saying, at a track like Brazil, you tend to see these very, very close gaps. The H-Eagle on pole by a 10th though, and that now we're just sort of in this lull that we genuinely get in qualifying. Any idea on the strategy if it stays dry, Ben?
Well, this is... No, but this is F1 28, 17, not quite 18 yet, but one would assume Super Soft is definitely within the realms of possibilities. Potentially mediums.
I think it's mediums. I think.
Oh, very interesting. I've just had reports from the weather reporters. Full wet to dry.
Full wet to dry. Oh, we've got some entertainment coming our way. That's to say the least.
Could we have a more entertaining start than last week?
No, I don't think they'll ever be beaten in any league race ever. Those first 4 laps, probably the best I've ever seen. I thought Jundu was on a lap. I went to spectate him, but as a pace was backed out of it for whatever reason, so I'll cut to Jamie James because those are the only 2 out on track at the moment. So we've got 3.5
I'm hearing reports that super soft medium's actually very difficult, so a few of the drivers harder on tyre wear might be quite glad about the rain here.
It's amazing that you've all of a sudden become this mine of information, really, Ben. It's almost like you're asking people.
I'm a man with many links, what can I say? Many people in my ears.
Right, Jamie James is through turn 4, through turn 5, and now on the run uphill in towards turn 6 into this very difficult middle sector. It's a very difficult sector to hook up, and one which I'm definitely not a fan of, especially on this game. But through the turn 9 hairpin and then up towards turn 10, and it's such an okay lap from Jamie James, but definitely nothing spectacular. But obviously with track evolution, he still could be within a chance of taking provisional pole.
We've got Jundu on a lap as well at the minute, a bit wide through turn 4. He's got a bit of traffic up ahead of him. Hopefully that won't affect him too much. Yep, Cherry Pie gets nicely out of the way, but he does run a bit wide there, Jundu, so...
Jamie James goes P2.
Ooh, with the track evolution, that could see him fall down pretty far. But it's a good place to be at the moment. We hope he stays there.
Yeah. I think from Jundu's dash, he is marginally up. I wonder if drivers are going for more than what... Yeah, by 89 thousandths. I'm wondering if drivers are going to go for like at least a couple of consecutive laps at the end of the session. If it's a full wet start, then they don't obviously have to worry about tyre wear heading to the race. And Jundu improved, but didn't improve, so I think he got his lap invalidated. Unless he just improved by a margin which...
It does 0.046 I'm reading there.
Yeah, so he might have got the lap invalidated, or he just didn't go for position with that improvement. Those are the two options. Try and follow someone who's vaguely important in this qualified session. So we've gone to Iceman. He's currently sitting 5th, which is not a bad place to start this race, considering he only needs to be 8th or higher to win the championship today. No, not 8th. He needs to be 7th or higher. 8th gives Tactician a chance, I think. Yes, it does.
Jundu is improving on this next lap run. Just a bit scruffy still.
The H Eagles improved to a 108.6, which furthers his margin from P2.
Looking pretty good for pole at this stage. Jundu's lost it out the Yun Sao. He's kept it out the barriers, but that's his qualifying over. He was up again, but he had lost a bit of time in that middle sector, so he's not going to be happy with himself after that.
Iceman coming through the final section of this middle sector now, through turn 11. Down to the final corner, once again with Iceman. You just see he takes a lot higher gears than most drivers do. Always seems to be a gear higher than everyone else, but it's seemingly working for him because he is top of the championship at the moment. Opens up the DRS, then comes towards the line, and it's P3 for the time being, a 108.8, and Tactician goes on to provisional pole with a 108.6.
Bit of mind games there. Anything you can do, I can do much, much better from the Fat Esports driver as he takes P1.
Try to find who's actually on a lap. Elite Game Boys coming into the final corner. Well, turn 12.
Well, I think both Iceman and Tactician are on another lap. VP Vettel Race is not going to improve from P3 though, they've just passed him. And Iceman's backed off his lap, but Tactician is looking like he's still on it here.
Elite Game Boy, he's stayed in P6, didn't improve on that lap. Jundu's coming into the pit lane. Cherry Pie coming towards the line. He's currently 2 tenths up. See where this lap puts him. And he goes P7 on a 109.0. RC Griggs now towards the line. He goes 6th on a 108.9. But it looks like no one is challenging Tactician for pole.
Yep,
but he might still improve.
He is down after the second split by half a tenth, but he's going to finish his lap. He's weaving. He knows he's not done enough. But it's P1 anyway. And he's given himself the best chance that he could of taking this title back at the deck.
Yep, he's done all he can do in taking provisional pole, 35 thousandths ahead of the H Eagle. VP Vat Racer will line up in P3 and Iceman will complete the second row of the grid. Jamie James 5th, RC Griggs 6th, and Elite Game Boy 7th, Cherry Pie 8th. Jundu 9th and Cronex ran out the top 10, Pitmat, Woody and Professional 11th, 12th and 13th, but by the sounds of it, they won't have, well, they'll all be starting on the full wet tyres, so there's no advantage for those guys heading into the race.
Yeah, as we saw though in Monza, we might see some drivers starting on the intermediates, depending on how quickly this rain's going to stop. So that will be interesting to see if anyone tries that. It's worked out quite well on that occasion, but it was very marginal. So anyone taking that strategy is going to be doing a very big risk here.
Yeah, I mean, me and Shane called all those people idiots at Monza, and it actually turned out to be a race-winning strategy. But yeah, as we were told, it's very wet here in Brazil.
Yeah, Marshall's not looking too happy here in the pit lane.
Now the great news is that they're still prepared for the dry. I mean, I'm seeing this dude in a t-shirt. He's an absolute legend. The good news is he's got a high visibility jacket on, so you know, no problems for him. Someone's readied up quite early, so we'll be getting ready for the race.
Also, interestingly, is I think I can see a front wing outside the Williams garage, even though neither Maz I saw myself will be racing.
They're prepared for whatever.
They've come to expect, yeah, they've come to expect the worst at this point in the season.
Right, for the final time this season, it's 5 lights on here in Brazil. And we are underway for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's very difficult to see who's got a good start, but it looks like they're on the Inters. And Tactician leads them down in towards turn 1. The H-Eagle slots into P2, and the 3 wide further back.
Yeah, everyone on the intermediate tyres as Iceman's made his way up into 4th position, had a clean start, and that is crucial for his race. Gwiggs is showing P12 for me, but right behind Iceman, which is a bit confusing. Oh, he's now in 5th.
Yeah, a few issues with the timings at the moment. People better racing those got past the H-Eagle for P2, but Tactician out front has a 1.2 second gap. That's looking good for him immediately. But ISO's held on to P4. It's crucial for him not to lose positions at the start, because we've seen so far this season he's probably not the best in these wet weather conditions. So he just needs to make sure he's still in a decent position by the time it comes dry.
Yeah, we've got some battles further down with I think that was that Cherry Pie and McLaren? Yeah. Just behind Gwiggs, all over the back of him there through the hairpin, but they seem to spread out a little bit. And yeah, the field's still relatively close. A few gaps emerging, but mainly it's Tactician beginning to bolt out front and stretch his legs.
Yeah, no surprises there really. Yeah, I see Gwiggs almost onto the grass on the way towards the finish line, as they all come towards the end of lap 1. And
Woody is in the pit lane.
Ow. Not a great return for the league for him.
He does have wing damage on his front left side.
Yeah.
See if he does anything interesting on strategy. No, back onto the Inters. Well, no safety car. It looks like game over for him already.
Yeah. And Cherry Pie has found a way past RC Gwiggs, but we're watching Woody in the pit lane. Apologies for that. Jamie James is also trying to find a way through as well. And looks like RC Gwiggs is slightly struggling in these conditions. Made an okay start. Oh, Cherry Pie, what are you doing? He's very sideways. There's contact. Jamie James has gone spinning. And
he's nowhere near the track. That's him right down the order. He's rejoined. Oh, he's done quite well there.
Oh, there's more contact between. Oh my God, Cherry Pie's into the wall. RC Gwiggs gave Cherry Pie a little bit of a nudge, and that was enough for Cherry Pie to go flying into the wall. And well, RC Gwiggs got back up into 5th place by some rather extreme measures. Crodex has got up into P6 as well, and Jamie James obviously lost out in that and didn't appear to do a whole lot wrong, to be honest.
Yeah, quite interesting there. Woody's going to be happy to see that from a pit stop down, but all the while it is Tactician absolutely bolting out front. And yeah, action already plentiful in the midfield here, as we've got Cronexus already behind Gwiggs as Elite Game Boys run pretty far wide, and Gwiggs, who does seem to be struggling, has a pretty handy Ferrari behind him there. It always seems to go in wet conditions. Oh, Gwiggs with a big moment there.
Yeah, it definitely appears to be on the more extreme side for the intermediate tyres, so I think they will be struggling out there. It's obviously on this game the full wets are a bit redundant, to be honest. I mean, they do have a window where they're good, but the Inters can cope with most standing water, so they do appear to be struggling out there. A lot of drivers sideways in this middle sector, and Cronex is looking pretty good in P6 at the moment. 4 positions already in this race. Pitmap made up 3, and Tactician out front has already got a 2.5 second advantage. So I'm not saying the pad's OP in these conditions or anything, but you know, I think there's a common theme emerging there.
Wow. Iceman's doing all that he needs to, which on his wheel, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty difficult conditions out there, but he's doing all he needs to, and well, he's only got another 33 laps to do so. But so far, so good for him.
Yeah. Obviously, with these intermediate conditions, it makes it even more difficult for these drivers to find a way past other guys. I mean, as we found out,
we've got some action further back there with Jundu looking to go down the inside of pit mat. I'm trying to find them now.
Yeah, pit mat's just about held on to P8, but Jundu is definitely
onto his gearbox here.
Yeah, Jundu definitely looks quicker at this moment in time. Obviously, returning to the league after a couple of weeks' absence is Jundu, and
Pitmat in particular seems to be struggling in this midfield, considering how much Gwig seems to be struggling. Pitmat not able to keep up with Pro Nexus and Elite Game Boy, who are tightly packed in behind Gwig.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Professional, as we saw in Kosa, a bit in a world of his own there in P11 as well.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have any of the antics that happened in Kota to help him. As Chronex has dropped off the back of RC Gwigs, gap up to 1.4 seconds, and has let.
Very unusual.
I honestly thought he was letting Elite Game Boy through for the time being there, but goes to defend the inside line for turn 1. Elite Game Boy with a much better line, and that will surely set him up for a good exit through turn 3 now. And oh god, Elite Game Boy looks to be sideways. I don't know if it's sideways or just a little bit of lag. Yeah. On the run down towards turn 4, though, Chronexus feels the need to defend the inside line. But the Ferrari driver will hang on to P6 for the time being. Pitmat also defending from Jundu.
Yeah, Jundu's run a bit wide there, locked up a bit late on the brakes. And Jammy James joining in the party now as well for this battle for 5th place.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Chronexus because his pace has suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, well, this is all actually very good news for Iceman, who he genuinely seems to be struggling quite a lot compared to the top 3 there, with a 2.5 second gap to the 2 in front. But all this battling's only going to help him if he is struggling. So he'll be hoping he can get a gap himself there through all of this.
Yeah, obviously a long way to go in this Grand Prix, but he'll just want to build up a bit of a gap to these guys because the top 10s within sight of him, it poses a problem for him because obviously if he finishes 8-4 and with Tactician looking pretty good out front at the moment, it leaves Iceman vulnerable in case we see any change. Well, if the conditions change and we need to switch tyres, and Iceman loses a lot of time during the transition phase.
Oh, Pitmat's wide there, go on board with Jundu. Doesn't seem to get quite a great exit though, unfortunately for him.
No.
But, Elite Game Boy very close to Pro Nexus, and I'm not close enough to think about a move though on this occasion. Everyone's just, they're like Scalextric at the minute, can't quite get near enough to each other. Definitely not to think about any moves. If anyone's trying to move from that sort of range, they might be joining Mazice on the blacklist, unfortunately. But,
yeah, oh god, Elite Game Boy got very close to Chronexus in towards turn 8 there. But, yeah, as we were saying, the wet conditions just makes overtaking so difficult. Unless the driver ahead makes some sort of mistake, or you run an Alex Season 12 style setup and just...
Very. Yeah, they all seem to be tripping over each other here in the middle sector. They all seem to be struggling at different parts and just generally costing themselves an awful lot of pace. And all the while, Iceman's still not actually pulling away from this.
No,
by a rapid rate from the 2 in front, and well, obviously especially Tactician as well.
It looks like RC Gwiggs has, well, I don't know if he's gained pace, but he's definitely gained a bit of composure in these conditions, and the gap's down to, like, fluctuating between 1.1 1.3 now. So, yeah, the Mercedes driver's starting to come back to the Renault, and that's not good news for Iceman, because I think if Chronex isn't...
quite close to perfect Pitmat there, not quite close enough for moving. He's
gone wide.
And Jammy James get a move off here, not quite good enough on the exit. And yeah, we resume our... Jammy James, he's held it, but has he got a bit of damage there? It doesn't look like it to me.
No, I think that's just the Haas front wing. But yeah, Jammy James, maybe the first sign of frustration now. Probably, you would say, has pace to be higher than 10th at the moment, and just can't find any way through. But RC Griggs has dropped back.
He's dropped a second this lap. And Chromex is beginning to... Oh, Jammy James again. He is sliding all over the place at the minute. As tacticians, he's just on another level right now, and I think he'll be hoping it rains as far into this race as it possibly can, looking how Iceman is at the minute.
Yep, the rain's definitely playing into the Red Bull's driver's hands, and well, Jammy James is definitely struggling, but appears to have decent pace. Just can't find any sort of consistency at the moment. But
Yeah.
no one, everyone's struggling to find a way past. The thing with RC Griggs making that mistake.
Oh, moves to the outside, but again, nothing doing for him. But he's stuck quite well behind this time. It's the first time I've seen him do that without going wide. So maybe he can get a chance in this middle, but he's lost it. He's held it quite nicely, actually. Look,
Pitmat's wide.
Very, very wide. Is Jammy James through? Yeah. Pitmat's nowhere.
Yeah, Pitmat made a horrible error, and the car was basically stopped for a time being there.
And that has released two much quicker looking drivers at this stage, which the rain does seem to be thinning out a little bit from the onboards. I wouldn't say it's stopping, but definitely not quite as heavy as it was at the start.
Oh my god, there's a car on the... Who's that? It's Griggs.
It's Griggs.
He's made a horrible error.
Maybe struggling with tyre wear at this stage, with the less standing water around, and he must have, as we've seen Jammy James lighting up the rear quite a lot there, he must have just done the same through that, well, in the dry, pretty much a nothing corner, but obviously in these conditions, any kind of twitch is going to give you some different coloured underwear.
Yeah, I mean, it's still quite a bizarre mistake to make, but nevertheless he's made it, and currently finds himself down in P11. All this tripping over the midfield is giving Iceman a little bit of breathing space. Chronex is currently 3.4 behind, but appears to be a little bit quicker.
Chronex was looking quite strong at the start, but now appears to be a bit of a bottleneck for this midfield, and I think Iceman's actually quite fortunate that Wiggs has managed to take out Cherry Pie and send Jammy James down the order in this race, because I think they probably would have had the pace to have mounted a challenge there from behind him.
Yeah.
At the minute, he looks pretty safe in that P4.
Yeah, obviously, so a long way to go in this race, and I'm not sure Iceman will feel quite as safe, but yeah, he's got a reasonable gap at the moment. I would say with Jundu and Jammy James bottled up behind Chronex as an elite Game Boy, that they're not going to become a threat. But if they manage to find a way through in the next couple of laps, you'd expect those two to have the pace to go and catch up to Iceman, because Iceman's pace at the moment isn't exactly scintillating.
Ooh, Jundu's just lost it big time through turn 2 there, and again through turn 3. He's definitely going to fall off the back of elite Game Boy, but Jammy James, well, as I saw quite a lot earlier, sliding all over the place, and he's doing it himself, so not able to capitalise. Yeah,
a lot of drivers struggling with the rear of the car. You just wonder how much of a dry setup the drivers have gone for, because obviously it's a full wet race. Drivers will lower the ballast of the car a lot to try and help them, but if they're feeling most of this race is being in the dry, then they'll probably keep it up at around 9, 10 or 11, so that could be what's causing these problems for the drivers at the moment.
We've not actually seen any track limits penalties, which I think that's actually quite impressive for this track. Given turn 7, is it? The right-hander, quite, well, as it goes through to turn 8, it's quite easy to extend there, especially in these conditions, run wide. So yeah, that is, I think that's a factor where Iceman's quite strong on normally, so that's something else that's only going to play into his hands. But yeah, I personally jumped forward here to the battle for second, and it is remarkable watching just how much more relaxed they are at driving. I mean, they don't look like they're pushing the limits at all, and it's quite easy to see how tactician has the pace on them. But they must be conserving their tyres at an awful better rate, which is only going to help them as this race goes into drier conditions, as it must be quite nip and tuck making it to the dries from Inters at this stage, because I'd have thought they've got to be hitting around 40% tyre wear by now-ish, some of the drivers. And,
I wouldn't even want to guess, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's quite a high tyre wear track according to my sources, and
Your sources.
Yeah, yes, you don't want to be in high tyre wear on intermediate conditions, especially when it's drying out and they're overheating. And as we saw with Gwigs, you can come a cropper.
Yeah, but at the moment, it doesn't look like we're anywhere near close to dry running. Obviously, that can all change very quickly on these games, but you get to the point where drivers might start thinking about coming in for a first stop for intermediates. Yeah.
In Elite Game Boy, as you say that, seems to be doing so.
I mean, what a commentary duo you've got here. I mean, this is
he must have realised he's not going to make it to the dry weather, and he's looking for an undercut here.
Okay, that's
stream is a very interesting glitch. As in the distance, the tyres are just casually rolling into the garage. Here he comes out the pit lane. Number 4, nicely done.
Yeah,
very difficult to navigate these in these conditions, but he's done it nice and cleanly. Will he ruin his front wing on the exit? No, he's not me. I did that a few times last season. Off on his merry way to try and, well, he was bottled up behind Pro Nexus. This is, if he gains a lot of pace, this could be quite concerning for Iceman, but you would imagine his tyres were in fairly better condition and he might be looking to stay out until the dry stages. As at this stage of the track where we are with Elite Game Boy, if you were to look at the start-finish line there are some blue sky starting to come over. So it shouldn't be... I think it could be quite possible that some drivers are looking to stay out until the dries, and that could see some interesting variance and strategy in this race. Yeah,
you would say Iceman should be one of those guys that will be good on their tyres so they can get to that point. You can just see the way he drives. It's very smooth, very calm. There's no stress going through those rear tyres at all. Cronexus is now 5 seconds behind Iceman as well, which is just great news for the Renault driver. It just gives him that buffer, which is so key.
An interesting point as well is, well, Tactician does seem to be quite smooth on board with him and quite quick, but at the pace he's going, could he be conserving his tyres a little bit more, because he's consistently pulling out the gap there? But does he need to? Because he could end up costing himself a pit stop if he does his tyres in too much. But well, he's in the championship fight, and I was in 1 point in this championship, so I imagine he's got things under control.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose with the pace he's got, it could afford another pit stop.
At this rate.
Another pit stop. If you came into the pit lane, you suspect he'd be able to gain back that time to re-pass those two.
He'd still, he does seem to be on a completely different level to everyone out there on the track right now.
Yeah. No one's even can touch his pace. Obviously, it could all change when we go to the dry conditions. But Elite Game Boy is obviously on that undercut strategy, and he's going to need to put in some good laps. As Jundu has pit as well, so we'll see where Elite Game Boy comes out in reference.
Jundu was about a second, maybe a little bit more behind him. If we're looking at a gap over 2 seconds here, then it's definitely a worthwhile undercut, and he will be ahead of Cronexus, you would have to say, because Cronexus's pace does not seem to be good at this stage in the race.
I don't know. I don't know where Elite Game Boy is. Elite Game Boy's coming through turn 3 now.
Surely. I'm going to go on the race director because I'm feeling there must have been a mistake.
So Jundu has come out of the pit lane ahead of the Mercedes driver.
That is bizarre, because he doesn't seem to have been going that slowly, Elite Game Boy. Jundu obviously just able to capitalise on that clean air. He did put in his best middle sector of the race last lap. 4 tenths better than he'd managed the lap before.
So it's showing the pace that he's got.
Maybe a bit conservative on the pit lane from Elite Game Boy.
VP of that racer has pit. So great news for Tactician, because it just gives him
just consolidating his win. But can we see the H Eagle maybe do what Jundu's done here and you clear air Can he find some paces? Jundu does seem to be dropping a Game Boy here. And you've got to say, at this sort of pace, with this undercut, this is definitely going to be a factor in Iceman's race if he doesn't hit any time soon, because he's, I'd imagine, going at a fair rate quicker now.
Yeah. The problem Iceman's got is people are just splitting their strategies, so it's who does he cover off in a sense? Because with Cronexus, Jammy James, and Pitman, all like that.
He pits now, he is going to be P8 with Professional ahead, and I mean, there's no way he's not beating Professional.
I mean, you never know.
In a I'll bet on. I'm not sure commentators are allowed to bet on it.
I honestly don't know the rules of that, but yeah. So if I'm Iceman, I wouldn't pit now because you've got that 5-second gap to Cronexus. If Cronexus and Jammy James pit, then I'd be tempted to come into the pit lane. But Iceman knows how good his tyres are, and surely will have some ideas how long he can go out there. Tactician and the HG are still going out there at, well, I presume a decent pace. I haven't seen anyone go fastest, although VP Vet Racer or Jundu might just be about to go fastest as Jammy James pits.
Yeah, I'm just currently flicking through the race direct to see warnings. I see Jammy James on 1, Professional on 2. Jammy James, I just said. Yeah, Elite Game Boy on 1. Gwig's on 1, and everyone else is on 0.
I think Jundu's just gone 8 tenths quicker than he has at any other point in the race. Hasn't really pulled that far away from Elite Game Boy. So
yeah, but Elite Game Boy's on fresh tyres though as well. But it's over a second, and at this pace, Cronexus, you're going to imagine, is going to be pretty far behind them.
Yeah, you've seen how far out Jammy James has come out behind. That's 4 seconds behind Elite Game Boy. So Jammy James has lost a lot of time. That's what's that, 2 laps.
Iceman's at danger if he doesn't pit soon for track position, and he's definitely not going to want to lose out on that because looking at those blue skies, I don't think we're going to be on Inters until the end of the race.
Yeah. As Tactician has come into the pit lane. So I presume
be able to rejoin in 3rd place, will he here? 21-second gap to Cronexus. And how slippery that pit lane exit is.
As V for better race, that just shows the pace that there's there on those new intermediate tyres, because I can't imagine he was anywhere close to Tactician in the first stint, and as you were saying, Ben, Tactician just come out in P3. Iceman is up into a provisional P2. But, well, the H-Eagle and Iceman might be now thinking about hanging it out until it becomes dry, because otherwise they've left themselves vulnerable to an undercut.
If he doesn't pit this lap, then there's just no point in pitting really, because he's going to have thrown away track position to at least 2 cars if he doesn't pit this lap, I'd imagine. And well, I mean, given the championship position he's got, he could afford to do that, but it's definitely not something I'd imagine he'd want to do, as we have our first naughty boy in Professional, making his odds of a decent position from this race a little bit more unlikely there.
Yeah, the problem the only problem for Jundu, Elite Game Boy and Jammy James is that they're catching up to Professional. And
you would imagine he would also be looking to pit as
H-Eagle pits.
Iceman carries on again. He must be on pretty well, you'd imagine, given his lack of pace generally and his smooth tyre driving style. He could have the tyre wear to pull this out, Iceman.
Yeah, VP Vet Racer's also got stuck behind Pitmat as well, which is bad news for him, but comes out well ahead of the H-Eagle. Miles ahead.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, the bad news for Iceman is he might at the minute be able to pull out his tyres for some distance, but the drier it gets, the tyre wear is just going to increase, and you can't go into those tyres too early. And worse still, it's still raining, so he's not going to be on those tyres anytime soon. So,
oh my God, Professional's all over the place. He's onto the grass coming towards up the hill. Jundu smartly backs off a little bit, but gets up the inside into turn 6. Professional is horribly out of control, as he'll have grass on his tyres on an intermediate track.
Very understeery.
Oh my.
Oh, Elite Game Boy is being heavily compromised here.
Professional just needs to let him go.
He's
Oh.
not.
Oh, oh gosh. She's just going to lead to an accident. Thank God he eventually lets him go. Tactician sets fastest lap of a race with a 20.0, and Iceman has come into the pit lane.
Could that have saved Iceman track position to Elite Game Boy?
It might well have done.
You're going to imagine that Jundu's ahead here. But, interesting. Professional stays out again.
Iceman might just be ahead of Jundu. Yeah, he's just ahead of Jundu.
Oh, that is going to be one that's going to be interesting to watch. Obviously with the fresher tyres, but Jundu does seem to be quite handy at this stage of the race, and Iceman definitely a bit lacking in pace compared to what he's normally like in the dry conditions. It will be interesting to see if he's able to close that gap at all. But from a championship point of view, Iceman at this stage does seem to have everything under control at the halfway stage and a bit in this race.
Pitmat's still out there on his first set of inters, and his pace doesn't seem horrendous. It's not exactly good, but he's vaguely competitive.
As I was saying though, it's just going to start. As soon as it goes to dry conditions on intermediates, you're just going to kill them in about 2 laps. And he's going to be on such high tyre wear, he's going to need to bail out. Like, I can't imagine it's going to work. But Tactician, I saw he did a 20.0 as the fastest lap last time around. He's just done a 19.4.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else is really Pitmat pits. But I don't think anyone else is really in the same race as him, I'll be honest. Just his pace
It'll be
is...
interesting to see what they can do in the dry, but obviously with a short lap here, there's not going to be that many laps to go anytime it is dry, assuming it does dry out.
Yeah, Jamie James round outside Professional towards turn 1. That's a pretty nice overtake, and oh god, it's a Ferrari sandwich at the moment for the Haas driver, because he's got Crow Nexus just behind him. Professional somehow managed to hang on there with the inside line for turn 3. Yeah, he's got... oh god, that looks like a bit of contact between Jamie James and Crow Nexus. As Crow... oh god, I don't know how it did. We've got a horrible camera angle, but it looks like Crow Nexus has found a way past both his teammate and Jamie James there. Pretty...
team orders, maybe?
Professional holding up Jamie James and also his teammate got through. Interesting.
You've got to say, Pitmat's strategy seems to have been an absolute horror show, because if you hit Elite Game Boy, he was only slightly... that is a very interesting take on that corner from Jamie James, but yeah, Elite Game Boy was very near him on track.
Was he?
Given how much yeah, before the pit, Elite Game Boy was about a second ahead. And now look, nowhere near. And Elite Game Boy's been pretty significantly held up by Professional in that time as well. And
you sure? Elite Game Boy was right behind...
yeah, Jundu was behind Pitmat, I believe.
No, he wasn't. Pitmat was well off because he made a mistake very early on in the race.
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
We may have forgotten about this. It's fine.
Yeah.
But interesting to Professional's pitted. He is now in the same race as Woody, which is impressive. Has Woody stopped twice actually? Have a look.
No.
No, he's not. Professional's not even stopped once though. So yes, he is in the same race.
It's a battle for P11.
Entire pit stop. Well, you never know. The way some of these drivers have been going round, I would not bet against another retirement at this stage, especially as we go into ever-changing conditions.
That's looking increasingly better for the fat driver out front of Tactician.
Yeah, Iceman does seem to have quite good pace against what I perhaps thought might be the case. He's done a 20.0. Jundu's fastest lap only a 20.4, but yeah, Tactician 6/10 clear ahead of the field, who are, other than him, pretty nip and tuck. Other than Professional on a 21.7 there.
Yeah, as Professional has officially
finally hits. But well, Woody actually kind of hasn't pitted yet, given that was it lap 1 or maybe 2?
Yeah, I think it was lap 1.
Yeah, just...
Oh, Professional's gone for the super soft.
That's bold. We're going to go on board with him, I imagine.
Yes, we are.
Is he going to make it out the pit lane?
Oh God, it's worrying moments for the Ferrari driver as he stumbles his way down the hill. Just trying to watch out for both barriers. I don't think this has been the right call. He's providing us with some entertainment though, so fair play. Pitmat's actually catching up to the back of Jamie James, so we'll keep track of that as well. And
Pitmat's the second driver to go into the 119, so he's the, well, other than tactician who is in a world of his own. Professional, it's like watching 2000 and 2008 when they were on the right tyres, in much heavier conditions. I've never seen someone go off on the inside there.
Yeah, it's
I'm expecting a retirement imminently, I'm not gonna lie. He's using karting lines, and to be honest, mate, you turned in pretty early there. Oh dear. Oh. Tactician's already coming up to lap him. Let's hope he clears this clearly, because to lose the championship to this would be an utter farce.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tactician's going to win today, but Professional needs to go.
Oh, dearie me.
This is the biggest obstacle Iceman's going to have so far this race, to be honest. Trying to find a way past Professional, who's going to be struggling.
Oh, he last minute goes into the pit lane.
Thank God.
Just about. I think he's retiring.
Yeah. Hardly surprising. Jamie James is all over the back of Chrome Nexus, though, for P7. Yeah. And as they come up the hill, Jamie James losing the rear end slightly as he got on the curb on the exit. And that's going to mean there's no chance of getting past, and Pitmat is now only 1.1 seconds off this battle. And so Chrome Nexus, who showed a fair bit of pace on like the first 4 or 5 laps, just sort of hasn't really come together in the rest of this race for him.
It could have been just Gwiggs having an absolute horror show in those first few laps, though, to be fair, because who's just come out?
That's Professional.
That is Professional. As he comes out, and Pitmat's not going to be too happy about that.
He's still on the super softs on my screen, but he's definitely on the inters.
Yes, same. Yeah, Pitmat's probably not going to be too pleased about that, but he gets out of his way soon enough.
Yeah, it didn't cost him any time, really.
Yeah, I'm beginning to question whether we've got some slipstream glitch in this lobby, because there's been a lot of cars following each other quite closely, but overtaking moments have been at a premium here.
Yeah, I mean, Cherry Pie retired. Even if he quit, I mean,
I can't say the same, which is good for the viewers, I imagine.
Yeah.
But an interesting point is it's still raining, and with only, well, under 10 laps to go now. Have some people pitted a bit too early? And people like Pitmat, Iceman, are they going to gain towards the back end of this race? I don't think Iceman's got the pace to warrant a podium, but Pitmat certainly could be looking at gaining up to about 3 positions here.
Okay, so the internet connection quality, I don't think we're streaming anymore, Ben.
Oh, I've no idea, but I'm going to commentate anyways. Jamie James is going around the outside of Chrome Nexus. He cuts back to the inside. Stays on the outside, nothing doing there, but he is all over him like a rash. Pitmat joining in the party behind. Have you any idea whether we are in fact streaming? The lack of a response fills me with absolutely no confidence.
But by the looks of it, we're still streaming, Ben. So just carry on.
Good. As we see, Jamie James still very up close behind Chrome Nexus, but he gets a big oversteering moment on the exit, and Pitmat definitely got a great chance to take P8 here. He's not gaining much, but he could. I would definitely send that some gore. Lick the stamp. Oh, Jammy James just broke very late. The side-by-side gets a bit stuck on the curb.
Pitman with a good exit though. So through turn 3, surely, as Ben said it, you just got to send it. Especially it seems to be so difficult for these drivers to overtake. Jammy James though, wisely defends that inside line. It's difficult for Pitman to find a way past now. Although Jammy James got a horrendous exit, massive amounts of oversteer. And that's Pitman up into P8. And now we'll try and get up 7th place from Chrome Nexus. And as you were saying, Ben, these conditions just don't seem to be disappearing.
Right, clear skies, particularly around the inside area of the track. I'm on board with Pitman now, and it's still raining. And I would say there is, at this stage, zero hope of it drying out. But for the dry tyres, but if it does stop raining, that tyre wear is going to heavily increase at the end of the race, and drivers like Elite Game Boy, who pitted very early on, they're going to find themselves in a bit of trouble, you'd imagine.
Yeah. One man who definitely isn't struggling is Tactician. Only a 13.5 second gap now.
The H Eagle has actually gained a right rate of knots on the VP Better races, and that could be something that develops in the next few laps.
Yeah, I think the H Eagle definitely pitted a couple of laps after VP Better Racer, from what I remember. So yeah, it's going to be a big advantage for him. Iceman looking good in 4th, and well, he shouldn't have any problems with tyre wear. Jundu in P5. Could be one of those
very similar to the guys in P2 and 3, so maybe a bit of tyre wear, maybe a mistake, but definitely at this stage he is looking stronger.
Yeah. Obviously, it's all right just having the outright pace in these conditions. Although, saying this, it looked a lot drier on my screen now. Just on board with the drivers. I think the rain has stopped a bit.
It has stopped, yes. Which is going to make, as I was saying, the back end of this race very interesting, because it might actually be dry tyres for like the last couple of laps, but it's probably not going to be worth pitting. But the tyre wear is going to be immense, and people like Elite Game Boy pitting on lap 16 are going to struggle a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, they pitted before lap 16, didn't they? I could swear they did. Like lap 13, wasn't it? Elite Game Boy was very early into the pit lane.
Oh, lap 12 for Elite Game Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Lap 13 for Dundu would have been, and yeah, I'm a maths. Well, Woody has taken his intermediates 27 laps, which is a bit of good news for Elite Game Boy.
Yeah.
But,
and he's gone onto the soft tyre. As RC Griggs has got past Jammy James as well.
It's a respectable call from Woody. He's got nothing to lose, a lot to gain. Realistically, not going to gain anything as he's dropped it in the pit lane.
Well, I think he's just gained an advantage there, hasn't he?
Might have to report that one to the stewards.
Yeah, see you in the stewards, bud. Yeah. Unbelievable.
He's going to be pretty aggrieved about that one in the race for P11. Sadly for him, he is still a lap behind.
Although the pace Woody's going at, he might have a chance, to be honest. The H Eagle's still around 1.2 behind people Better Racer. It's definitely drying up now. I mean, Woody's struggling a lot.
Look at it, he is struggling, but the pace, I'm thinking maybe one, maybe two more laps. Oh no, he's...
It's horrendous.
He doesn't seem to be driving all
RC Griggs has come into the pit lane. They're all coming in for dry tyres.
It does seem a little bit early, but...
It's definitely not far away. It seems to be drying up at a right rate of knots.
I think if you stay out to the end of the race, you are going to be a bit screwed.
So these drivers have got one last decision. Tactician's caught up to the back of Woody, and surely,
decisions like this is not what Iceman's going to want. But he, over that P7 that he needs, he does have a handy 15 seconds.
Well, yeah. The thing is, he's still got up to. So if he finished where Pitmat is currently, who's still driving around at a decent pace, then if he finishes there, he's in trouble and will lose the championship. So there's no one. There's still a few drivers that can overtake him that, you know, are doing a reasonable job at the moment. So if it becomes really dry in the last few laps and they all pit and Iceman stays out, then he's going to be vulnerable. But he does have a decent buffer, so you'd expect him to make the right decision.
Yeah, good news for him is he's got fresh tyres. He's probably not going to be one of the ones to gamble early. He can just see how it all plays out and be in a good situation for if it doesn't dry out enough. Where, I mean, either way, I doubt he's going to lose that sort of time to end up P8, but anything can happen. And
yeah, we could end up with we could end up with it's whatever. I've even forgotten the line from 2008, but you know, whatever it is that Glock moment. That's what I was looking for. Iceman's actually closing in on the battle for P2 as well. His pace in the second stint.
Cronexus has just driven off the track on the right hand side in exceptionally unusual circumstances.
I think it looks to be struggling a lot. Oh, he's got grass on his tyres.
I have no idea what he was. He was just randomly off the track on the right, like he was letting them. Has he got like 100% tyre wear on the rears or something? Because,
yeah, I was wondering if it. Well, he's got grass on his tyres now, which is his problem.
Yeah, all these guys on Inters in these conditions, especially ones with higher tyre wear, they look to be struggling.
I don't think RC Griggs. Oh, okay. I was going to say he's quicker, but it doesn't look to be a million miles away. Game Boy has pitted.
Yeah, I think this is a very marginal stage because it doesn't look to be quicker, but the Inters are probably going to die as the pace comes to the drier tyres.
Yeah, the thing was the Elite Game Boy.
To make up a pit stop. Yeah, he's not got much to lose, has he?
Yeah, the problem with the Elite Game Boy was because he pitted so early, he'll be so slow on those Inters at the end of the race that it's almost worth taking this gamble of pitting onto Super Softs. Cronexus is very much struggling out on the Inters, and it looks bone dry out there.
Interesting. Iceland's gaining on the second and third.
Yeah.
Oh, ooh, Cronexus is morphing through barrier on my screen.
Yeah, he's having some problems out there.
Professionals in the pits. No one cares at this point. I'm sorry to tell you, Sean.
He's a lap down to RT Griggs, who's in 10th, which... Oh, DRS has been enabled, so surely it's time for drives now. Viper Veta Racer, the H Eagle, and Iceman all into the pit lane.
Tactician stayed out though, but well, actually, he's that far ahead.
Yeah.
Professionals run off on his dry tyres.
Jundu into the pit lane.
In a spin.
Pit map.
I mean, that is a disgusting corner cut from Professional.
So Elite Game Boy here could be in line to gain a lot of time then. You would suspect.
Oh, Professional's lost his front wing.
It's not going well for Professional, is it? We'll try and keep a track of the actual race. As
I mean, fair play to going on at this stage in the race. As Cronexus is in the pit lane there, and Elite Game Boy's already passed him. I'm not surprised.
The H Eagle has jumped VP Veta Racer.
That is very true. It seems to, I think Iceman might have slowed him down in the pit lane because Iceman's gained on him as well.
I don't know how much Elite Game Boy's gained, I'll be honest. It doesn't appear to be a lot.
I think he might have pitted a lap early, to be honest.
Okay.
VP Battle Racer getting held up in the pits.
Oh, Woody sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, you've got to imagine the soft tyres are pretty desirable in these conditions.
Yeah, obviously the way it sort of works in this game, the harder the tyre, generally the more pace in these sort of damp conditions. But drivers still all going for the super soft, and Tactician, who's miles ahead, has come out of the pit lane.
Oh, he's come to the pit lane this time. Yeah.
And Vipul Veta Racer is gaining a lot of time on the H Eagle. He obviously lost out in the pit lane, but he's now trying to make up for that on track.
Iceman probably not pushing at this stage in the race, to be fair to him, but he is being dropped like an absolute stone.
And there's Professional coming out of the pit lane again as Elite Game Boy sets the fastest lap. No surprises there. But yeah, Vipul Veta Racer trying to get up into that P2 that he's held for so long in this race, harrying the Toro Rosso driver in towards the middle sector. Obviously, it's happy hour now for fastest lap.
Look,
Oh, look on the
he's gone for
inside!
it.
Oh,
Very
H Eagle.
respectable racing there, but he's probably
Leaving space.
not committed to that move enough.
Yeah, it's a very difficult place to overtake. It's more of a sort of sprint mode move more than a actual place to overtake in a league race, if I'm being honest. But down through 10-11, and you expect Vettel Race would have a great opportunity now on the pit straight.
Yeah, I actually have fond memories of Toro Rosso being taken out from a dive bomb at that corner as B-Colt 93 came soaring from behind me into the car in front.
Yeah.
Yes, I would not advise an overtake into that corner, but BP Vettel Racer, I think he could take his pick of the corners. He's quicker everywhere right now.
I was told that Iceman's been dropped, but he's just gained 8 tenths in a lap, so...
I think... Yeah, that did happen. The H Eagle just seemed to be...
Oh, Elite Game Boy and Pitmat are side by side in towards turn 1. Elite Game Boy with their inside line, but Pitmat has hung it round the outside. Oh, there's been a contact. And Pitmat's gone spinning. In a very bizarre incident.
Gutting for him.
And Jamie James has now gone past him. Oh, Elite Game Boy's waited. Oh, that's and Pitmat
coordinator.
Pitmat weaves to say thank you. So fair enough from there. Look, it was very bizarre.
Don't want to do that, Pitmat. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but personally, I would not recommend weaving. I'll cast your mind back to season 4-13 Germany as I was taken out by the man in P11 in this race, Woody, and I decided to weave to vent my anger and put it in the wall.
Professionals having a look at Vettel racing the H Eagle down towards turn 1. But I think he's a couple of laps down at this point. Iceman now setting fastest lap of the race with a 12.5, swiftly beaten by Jundu. But Vettel Racer is still all over the back of the H Eagle. And, well, I think, unlike most races we have this season, I think we're not going to see too many penalties after the race. So this is an important move for Vettel Racer to make if he wants that P2.
Yeah, the only driver I've actually seen with penalties is Professional, shockingly, with 13 seconds, I believe. But yeah, all over the back of him. He just needs to catch him by surprise, really. Other than that one time, yeah, he's just going for half-hearted moves. It's like watching Valtteri Bottas at the start of this season.
Yeah, it's like...
And everyone's screaming, oh, Jamie James! He's put himself in a position to lose 2 places thanks to that. And all of a sudden, Pitmat and Elite Game Boy's collision looks to mean absolutely nothing to their race.
No, it wasn't like they were going to come and catch Jundu.
He's got a great run here. He's got to go for the inside. He's gone for it. Not been defended at all by the H Eagle, which is a bit disappointing. He's running out pretty wide, but yeah, he's just cleanly through.
H Eagle didn't put up a lot of defence considering it's the final lap of the race, I'll be honest.
Yeah, he just seemed to be very slow, and Iceman's only a second back at this stage.
Yeah,
I'm not sure he's going to try and move.
I don't see Iceman going for a dive bomb in the middle sector, I'll be honest. But there's still that very weird tyre barrier in the middle section. Go on. Yeah, I'll have a chance there.
Yeah, he is gaining visibly, but yeah, I'm not sure. It's just does seem to be the H Eagle lacking pace because.
But we'll cut to the man.
Iceman getting dropped by
We'll cut to the man of the moment. We'll cut to the man of the moment. It's Tactician who comes towards the line. He's done all he can today, but we'll cut to the man of the season, which has been we'll come to Iceman, who has been a model of consistency. Only finished outside the top 5 once this season. It's an incredible record, and it's guided him to the championship. He'll finish P4 today, which is enough to take the championship by 7 points. And it's been a great season for the Renault driver. Jundu finishes P5. Jamie James.
Elite Game Boy, as it stands, just outside of that P7 that he's going to gain from Jamie James's penalty.
Yeah. So Jamie James will probably come home P7.
Yeah.
Yes, he does, by 4 tenths of a second. Yeah.
Elite Game Boy actually looks like he has a bit of dirt on his tyres there. maybe there was a moment that's cost him, but he's going to be pretty gutted about that.
Yeah, Kronex has comes home with the final point, and Woody will finish
Probably
11th.
having the most boring race of everyone.
I mean, fair play for carrying on. Because
I mean, yeah, yeah. Professionals at least provided himself with some amusement.
Yeah. going on dry tyres when it was still absolutely soaking.
Yeah, it's could have been inspired, but shockingly it wasn't.
Yeah, Tactician takes his first win since all the way back to Baku. So that was a whole 12 rounds ago, and that's maybe what's cost him the title this season. Iceman's had a very good run at the end of the season. He's won 3 of the last 4 before today, and that's maybe been the difference between these two. Only 7 points in it though at the end. In the battle for third, Vettel Race obviously does overtake Stocky, and the HE goal misses out. Oh no, beats Stocky by 1 point with his 15 points today.
Yeah, if he'd lost that due to that last overtake by VP Vettel Race, we might be thinking back about not defending into that corner in the slightest. Gets away with it.
Yeah, I bet.
You see his fastest lap there, 1.5 seconds off Tactician. He was clearly struggling at the end. Maybe with the wet setup on.
I think it's an easy answer, Ben, but who's your driver of the day today?
It's got to be a Tactician.
Yeah, I think winning a race by 15 seconds is very impressive on this game.
Never in doubt. He's just edged out the gap, lap by lap.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I don't think anyone else came anywhere near him all afternoon.
Yeah, so that's it for season... What, is it season 15?
It is.
It is! Season 15,
yeah.
PS4 F2 is done. Iceman is your champion. And, well, I think that's it from us. Obviously, there'll be season 16 on the next game. Who knows what will happen then?
Confirmed.
Yeah, already confirmed.
An error in the following application has occurred. Good to send us out on a high there, Codemasters.
That's the final word from Codemasters there of, unfortunately, the error in the game. Anyway, any final words before we go, Ben?
Well, if you're still watching on my commentary debut and only ever performance in the commentary booth, I assure you, God bless your soul, even though I'm not religious, so I don't know why I said that. Yeah. Thanks for
Did you enjoy
watching. Yeah, it wasn't actually that bad, to be honest. Not going to do it again, I hope, but
you put in a stunning performance, Ben. I'm sure you'll be top of King Kodiak's list for season 16.
Yeah, and I hope that when Jess watches this back, as she's told me she will be, she is thoroughly entertained.
I'm sure she'll be very proud, Ben.
Me too. Do we have anything else to say?
No, we do not. I was just wondering where you were going to go with that. But that's been it for season 15. Hope you've all enjoyed watching, and bye-bye.